and blessings to all who can join us here for this reading from the mystical city of God. And we're backing up a little bit so as to give some continuity with our previous reading from yesterday. After the great queen had received her son under the sacramental species, he caused her to become like him in the adorable sacrament. And in this glorious and supernatural manner, she returned into heaven. O hidden and admirable wonders of divine omnipotence! If God shows himself so great and admirable in all his saints, may we not think that he is much more so in regard to his Holy Mother? Moreover, she celebrated with the princes of heaven the remembrance of the benefits she had received and invited them to aid her in returning thanks for them. Recognizing such profound science in their queen, they sang, "Let thy Creator be eternally blessed and exalted, O Mary. Thou art the glory of the human race. Thou art the marvel of the power of the Word of God, the lively image of all his perfections. Thou art the worthy mistress of the Church militant, the particular glory of the Church triumphant, the honor of all creatures, reparatrix of thy race. Thou art worthy that all nations should acknowledge thy virtues and greatness, and that all nations should praise and bless thee." At the anniversary of her presentation in the temple, she retired into her oratory and passed the preceding night in holy exercises. She returned humble and profound acknowledgments to the Lord for having conducted her into his temple at so tender an age, and for having loaded her with benefits in that holy place. At this feast, she felt a natural attraction for solitude, because it is retreat that unites the soul most intimately with God. The Lord, according to his custom, visited her and said, "My mother and my dove, behold thy God and thy Son. I wish to give thee a temple and a habitation the most elevated, sure, and sublime, which is my own being. Enter then, my beloved, into thy true retreat." At these sweet words, she was placed at the right of her Son, and immediately felt that his divine, forgive my fault, At these sweet words, she was placed at the right of her Son, and immediately felt that his divinity penetrated her by a union incomprehensible, pure, and divine. She called this solemnity the feast of the being of God. On the anniversaries of the deaths of Saint Joachim and Saint Anne, she celebrated their feasts by acts of worship and veneration of the Lord, and rendering him thanks for having given her parents so holy. Forgive my fault, I'm going to reread that line. On the anniversaries of the deaths of Saint Joachim and Saint Anne, she celebrated their feasts by acts of worship and veneration of the Lord, and rendered him thanks for having given her parents so holy. She blessed the most Holy Trinity for all the gifts, graces, and favors that had been conferred on them during their lives, and for the ineffable glory with which they were crowned. Her blessed parents, vested with glory, descended from heaven with the divine Son to converse with their child. The angels of each choir sang the praises of the Lord, each explaining some divine attribute, and their queen, ravished into ecstasy and filled with incomparable joy, repeated their admirable canticles. Finally, having received her son's benediction, she begged that of her parents, and after giving it, they returned to heaven. On the feast of Saint Joseph, she recalled to mind the faithful companionship of her most chaste spouse. He descended into her oratory, all glorious and resplendent, accompanied by numberless angels, who sang hymns in his honor. The divine Mother of Wisdom repeated them and composed others, by which she thanked God for the favors he had heaped upon her spouse. After several hours of thanksgiving, she entertained herself with Saint Joseph and begged him to recommend her to the Most High and to thank him for the favors that had been granted her. She recommended to him the necessities of the Church and begged him to obtain the divine assistance for the apostles and disciples who were preaching the gospel. Then she begged his benediction, and he returned to heaven. We must not omit recording that on each of her feasts, Mary prepared food for a great number of poor persons and served them on her knees. She also begged St. John to seek out the most necessitous and miserable. During the day, she visited the sick in their houses and in abandoned places. Thus did the great Queen, celebrate her festivals. We're going to end this brief reading here. I sense that what I've just read is so extraordinarily profound that it deserves to be heard again. So I'd ask you, if you wish, to do as I shall do and read it again. In your case, listening to it again, which perhaps is even better. May God bless all here, and there'll be more, God willing, throughout the day.